Poking fun at feminists is so easy these days with their microaggressions. Their ability to find misogyny in every conceivable object, and hatred of anything masculine. Apparently feminists now cannot even accept a compliment. This week a human rights barrister, aged 27, became a feminist figurehead after replying to a message that a partner at another firm sent her on LinkedIn. Alexander Carter Silk, 57, used the professional network to tell Proudman that her profile picture was stunning. It was simply a headshot, the classic "I need to speak to your manager" haircut. Rather than being able to take a compliment, Charlotte Proudman instead took a screenshot of the message and tweeted it to the world, with no attempt to blur the image or block out the name. This, in my opinion, was an over-the-top response. Since the Twitter storm, I have since learned that the man who sent the message was not the one who initiated the LinkedIn connection, but Charlotte herself, who is still in university. This will not be a typical WTF episode. This event has set me off. I'm not going to mince words. Charlotte Proudman is a bitch. This creature with her bowl-cut hairstyle embodies every characteristic I loathe in a feminist. She's a fraud, stupid, vindictive, hypocritical, unaware of her first world privilege, cold, has a sense of special snowflake entitlement, delusional, hypersensitive, and viewing the entire world through a victimhood lens. Number 1. Delusional. Reading the man's message, I would say it was perhaps a clumsy response, but by no means sexual. Her picture is from the shoulders up, so you cannot even make a case that he's really complimenting her tits. She's simply another feminist who agrees with Anita Sarkeesian's quote of, "Everything is sexist and we must point it out." I hope that mentality gives her high blood pressure. Another example of delusion is her statement to the press claiming she is not a feminazi. I can't stop laughing at this one. Number 2. Hypocritical. After her stern and somewhat lengthy response, she hypocritically throws in some ageism, by ending with, "Think twice before sending another woman, half your age," such a sexist message. For someone that is a human rights lawyer, isn't ageism also a form of discrimination? I'd say yes. Another irony is that she's written an article about revenge porn, so you would think she would know a thing or two about public shaming, nude or otherwise. The Daily Mail also revealed that she's complimented some of her male friends about their physical appearance on Facebook over the past 2 years. Comments like "ooh la la" and hot stuff about attractive young men. What a piece of work. The following paragraph was from an article by Amanda Platel for the Daily Mail. Quote,
"If she's truly concerned about gender inequality in today's world, then she should take a long, hard look at the facts, which suggest that it is men, not women, who are struggling in almost every area of life. There are now more young female graduates in law and medicine than male. More women than ever are starting up their own businesses. Girls did better than boys in their most recent GCSE exams, and a higher percentage of females are now going to university. Full-time working women earn more than men until their mid-30s, when they take time off to have children. Their choice, incidentally, not a misogynist conspiracy. By contrast, the most underperforming group of people in our society today are boys and young men. They are more likely to be illiterate, to attempt suicide, to take drugs and to be excluded from mainstream education. But then I suspect Proudman and her fellow militant harpies aren't interested in equality for men and women, but in female supremacy.
Number 3. Unaware of her first world privilege. Here's a privileged woman who attends the prestigious University of Cambridge. But woe is me, I got a compliment. Meanwhile, people at this very moment that I am writing this are placing themselves and their young children on a rickety boat, hoping it doesn't capsize somewhere in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, before they get to the shores of Europe. If the world were a village of 100 people, 20 would be malnourished, 23 drink polluted water, 25 have no shelter, 30 are unemployed, 33 have no electricity, and 40 have no shoes. Number 4. Cold. Did it ever occur to her that this might be a genuine compliment? So does sexism extend to a lonely human being trying to connect with someone in a way recipient deems undesirable? What about people with autism or Asperger's who don't pick up on social cues? The firm that Alexander works for put out a public apology, but this feminazi wants him to acknowledge that he has done something wrong and is pursuing the CEO of his company to that end. She acknowledges the importance of privacy, especially for Alexander's wife and his daughter, who is the same age as Proudman, but adds, in this case there is a public interest that outweighs privacy. So who made her the sole arbiter of what is in the public interest? Feminists should realize that they do not have a monopoly on deciding where the goalposts are. Much like a mother should not have a monopoly on how to raise a daughter in a family where there is a father. I don't know about you, but I would not want a lawyer like this representing me. She obviously can't keep a private conversation private. Isn't that the first thing law schools teach regarding client-lawyer privilege? Her coldness does not end in the public sphere. She was not supportive of her elderly paternal grandmother Edith Bailey, to whom she wrote the offending message. Today Miss Proudman's Aunt Linda Serenk said, she did write a vitriolic email to her grandmother. She wrote a vicious letter to Mrs. Bailey in which she allegedly accused her of having failed in life. Mrs. Bailey died in April last year aged 83. Number 5. Special snowflake entitlement. She's quoted in a paper as saying, the contents of the message focused on my physical appearance rather than my professional legal skills as a barrister in family law. How can he focus on her legal skills when she's still in bloody school? But the real sense of entitlement isn't really about the message, but who sent the message. This story, and this video simply would not exist had Alexander the lawyer been younger and good-looking. Number 6. Hypersensitive. A poll in one British newspaper asked if it was okay to shame people for sexism. 83% said no. Another poll asked if Charlotte was right to call out Alexander over his LinkedIn message. 82% said no. Even if 100% of men voted no, that means over 60% of women feel the same way. By the way, I referred to her by only her first name because supposedly that is a sexist thing to do. Why don't you get him fired and ruin his life? Maybe that will cure your feels. Number 7. Viewing the entire world through a victimhood lens. Third wave feminism in a nutshell. A Twitter user by the name of Suffrage Gentleman said it best. Charlotte Proudman is the epitome of irrational, aggressive, fainting couch feminism. Or, as I prefer, Al-Qaeda. #Shihadist. Number 8. A fraud. 4 years ago she changed her name from Charlotte Bailey to Charlotte Proudman. She said it was to honor her grandmother, but could it be that it was because she was taken to court for the over $700 in fines for parking illegally? During her media rounds, she made it clear she went to Cambridge University. In reality she went to Keele University, ranked 46th in Britain, and is only doing a Mickey Mouse PhD in sociology at Cambridge. Kinda like being on the Jamaican bobsled team. Sure you're an Olympian, but in name only. She's now stating that she may have committed career suicide, but did she really have a chance at being hired at a top firm by getting her law degree at a university ranked 46th? But what career suicide? Her webpage implies that she is a real barrister, but in actuality she is an associate tenant. Simply put, she is not listed in the bar as a lawyer. James Dillingpole of Breitbart offered this plausible theory. Quote, "No, this whole affair, it seems to me, could be interpreted as the latest very calculated, very cynical move by a ferociously ambitious young woman who has spent the last 3 years assiduously building up her media career and now wants to take her profile up to the next level. And if some perfectly innocent middle-aged family man has to get squashed on the way, well, what the hell, he's only a man, and anyway, who gives a damn about anyone but Charlotte Proudman." Number 9. Stupid. You would think that a lawyer, who has her own website, and writes about internet-related issues like revenge porn, would have the baseline knowledge that the internet never forgets. If you have skeletons in your closet, you're best advised not to get caught up, let alone create a media storm around yourself. Also, in this oh-so PC world, why would you, in your response, condemn people who are in loving relationships but are of a significant age difference? It's okay to go from Bruce to Caitlin, or to marry to the same sex, but not to show interest in someone younger or older than you? How very biased of you. But then again, the stupidest person I ever met was university educated. She had a degree in geography, and my friends and I trusted her to ride shotgun, and read the map to tell us which way to go. A 90-minute trip ended up taking us 4 hours after we got hopelessly lost. Number 10. Vindictive. Proudman wants Alexander to acknowledge that he has done something wrong and is pursuing the CEO of his company to that end. So is this now a thing, that you can be referred to a disciplinary body for saying you liked someone's photo? Have women's appearances now become completely off-limits for public discussion, and if so, why do they keep Instagramming their shoes at me? The reasoning behind demanding an apology is explained rather well in this excerpt from the book, SJWs Always Lie, Taking Down the Thought Police. Quote, "The reason SJWs demand apologies is in order to establish that the act they have deemed an offense is publicly recognized as an offense by the offender. The demand for an apology has nothing whatsoever to do with the offender. It is focused on the SJW's need to prove that the violation of the narrative involved is publicly accepted as a real and legitimate offense for which punishment is merited." Conclusion. It's a pity we live in a world where any nice comment can be twisted into something offensive. I noticed her Twitter background said Charlotte leave the world a better place than you found it. I don't see much chance of that. I no longer give compliments to women, the risk-reward ratio is simply not worth it. These SJWs seem to virtually all be maladjusted, unhappy people, and their fixation with the trivial seems to be a way to give their meaningless existence some relevance. Charlotte needn't worry about getting more compliments. In another 5 years those compliments will stop altogether, as her looks hit the wall. Regardless of her looks, it's her personality that is ugly. As Billy Connolly once said, beauty is only skin deep, but ugly goes right to the fucking bone. P.S. Charlotte, go yourself with a cactus.